What's up, guys? So, today I just wanted to talk about 5D consciousness, some of my theories about Christ light and cannabis. So, I was just stumbling through a little bit of my gematria research and some of my universal studies. Um, and I just kind of came across this strange article talking about cannabis in the Bible and how it's mentioned like 5 times. Yeah, right? And the original like Hebrew name apparently and the way they mention it in the Bible is Cannabasum? Yes, Cannabasum. Link that right now. And as far as what they talk about is in the article is there's this anointed oil. Yeah, the word cannabisum literally translates to fragrant cane. It is known to be the integral part of healing rituals during the time of Jesus and considered a holy sacrament by ancient wise ones. Jesus did in fact use the same herb as the ancient Semitic ancestors and which is still used by people around the world for its enlightening and healing properties. Jesus used cannabis-based oils to heal eye and skin diseases, and his very name derives from being anointed with cannabis-enriched holy oil. And the ancient recipe for anointing oil is 9 pounds of flour and cannabis drops with olive oil and a variety of other herbs and spices. Yeah. Yeah. Cannabis oil, guys. So, with that being said, I was just thinking about all of this consciousness thing and Christ-like consciousness and just cannabis maybe being the key to enlightenment through, conscious awareness because, well, one, cannabis makes you think of conscious things. It makes you kind of think of, the concepts of the world and its constructs and just the hierarchy of things. So, I mean, that alone. And then it's a plant, it's a flower, it's natural, it grows, So, I mean, it's a part of this natural world. So that right there makes me think, because I'm a natural type of gal, so naturally anything of herbs or mushrooms, things of that nature, and food, healthy stuff, that all just kind of it kind of circulates back to spirituality for me, I think. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just kind of look at, ancestral traditions and, customs and ceremonies. So, there's that to think about. And the thing that kind of sucks, though, it's just really hard to kind of actually get facts on this stuff since a lot of history was, erased. But when you think about it, and when you see FDA fight these things, and I talk about FDA to my friends a lot all the time, um, FDA they're not exactly known to promote natural things, natural remedies. They're always wanting to kind of hide people that are into natural remedies and kind of shadow ban them and kind of, keep them from getting their word of mouth out. But, the internet's kind of really changed a lot of those things. So it's kind of like the new age where people are able to kind of think for themselves and decide for themselves. So, like, as far as Christ goes, I was thinking, like, well, one, I don't know too much about the Bible because I don't quote me too much on like Bible talk, because I've never personally read the Bible in depth or anything. I've read bits of it when I was young, but I don't remember really anything. But as far as I know gematria, if you look into gematria in the Bible, a lot of that stuff correlates and you can do a lot of future telling. I've seen it. I've looked into, gematria research, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So, there's truth to that stuff. So it kind of makes me speculate on it even more. But like, as far as like cannabis being like the key to enlightenment, conscious thinking, spirituality thinking, what if that's also like the key to 5D and the key to this higher dimensional way of thinking, higher conscious thinking, and just, oh yeah, going back to the FDA, like with them, kind of never wanting to promote cannabis and, all that war on drugs propaganda, like it makes me think even more about all this cannabis stuff and kind of the movement behind it, because now we're talking about, legalizing it in all 50 states. So that would be really awesome. And I feel like if we all just smoked a little bit more weed, the world would be a little bit of a better place. But, that's just my opinion. But then you go into, facts. There's facts like, CBD helping, epileptic children who have, like these, like, crazy medical conditions that are, most of the time uncurable. But cannabis has been like a miracle treatment for a lot of people. And then as far as like mushrooms go, because I was doing this out here in Portland when I moved here. I was given this miraculous job by the heavens of trying to promote psilocybin use, therapeutic psilocybin use in the whole state of Oregon. So, to fight like depression, anxiety, PTSD, and cluster headaches was another one. I talked to somebody on the street about this actually. Like, cluster headaches is like one of the most painful things to have to go through. And I was talking to this guy, because he's suffered from cluster headaches, and he was telling me about all this stuff. And you can take a minuscule amount of psilocybin mushrooms, and like it's not gonna allow you to hallucinate because it's a tiny amount, but it gives you like this clarity, this focus, this better outlook on life, and it gets rid of those headaches with like zero side effects, dude. So I mean, there's lots of studies on that, and a lot of this stuff is fresh, so I'm sure there's gonna be lots of speculation on it. But if people were just a little bit more open-minded to stuff, they'd see some of the good research behind a lot of this stuff. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but mushrooms and cannabis have done pretty good for me and changed my life around and gave me some better outlooks on life and how everything kind of works. And I had a crazy awakening, so I think I got some things figured out. I don't think I got everything figured out, but I got some stuff figured out. And I don't know, you know, indigenous tribes that have been, around a lot longer than even some of our ancestors were all into cannabis and mushrooms and cactus and peyote and other things of that nature, frogs and such. If you go into other places, but you know so there's like this kind of like nature aspect and one connecting with oneness through nature and through natural hallucinogens, things of the earth. And it's just kind of interesting because, well, one, those types of things kind of give you a chance to kind of think of things a little in a higher conscious level, or just a, out of the box type of experience, if you will. And then kind of going back into my awakening, like I talked about in one of my other videos, I had a DMT experience when I had my awakening. Like, I have never smoked DMT personally. So I don't, I didn't get to speak with any spirit gods, or spirit guides or anything like that. But I do remember that the white ball of light that I had talked about, like the white spiraling light, and I looked up, like, what DMT was like afterwards because I was like my eyes were dilated and stuff too. It wasn't just the white ball of light in my head, and I just thought I was like tripping out. There was other things that were going on too, and just information that was processing through my head and all this crazy jazz. But like, I looked it up on Reddit, and it was the same exact description of like everyone else. I mean, other people were talking about like going through a lifespan, a life experience, and all that. But I don't know, like what I experienced was like different, and it was kind of not as wide scale, I would assume. But then again, like I said, I've never personally had DMT, so I don't really know for sure. But it didn't seem like as wild as like a DMT trip would honestly be. But it just opened my eyes up to a lot of symbolism, connections in this world, and just other possibilities. So I don't know, something to think about. But yeah, like as far as like cannabis and psychedelics kind of being at least like a gateway or a key maybe perhaps to some other spiritual elements, and just kind of being able to kind of reach a higher level of thinking or a different way of thinking. Something to think about. I was just wondering though, who's this Messiah gonna be? Or is it like kind of like all of us? Are we all, in a sense, a sort of like monk when you break it down? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm thinking. But, cannabis has done a lot of really good things for society, and it's going to boost our economy when things open back up. Just you watch. But, hopefully it brings world peace, and I'm right about a lot of this stuff because I want to be right because I want world peace, and I think we could all figure it out if we smoked a little bit. I mean, there's no real harm in it. I mean, you can eat cannabis if you want, and there's CBD if you don't want to have like the mental experience, the it's not necessarily psychedelic, but the head experience, you can always do CBD and it negates his effects. So I don't know, it's just something to try out. I'm not recommending it, of course, but it's interesting to think about. I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about because I was just thinking about cannabis and this whole Christ light and the higher consciousness stuff. So, give me your guys' thoughts on all this stuff and what you guys think about, like, higher levels of thinking and psychedelics and plants and stuff, I guess. Oh yeah, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And visit my Patreon and my website because I got a new blog up there talking about how Babylon is falling. I'll put all the links down below.